In the depths of past times, when the world was still young and mysterious, there existed a book surrounded by immense secrets. This book, which would later be known as the Book of Enoch, lay hidden in the shadows of history, its origins obscured and its words protected by a power greater than human understanding. No one in that world could grasp the meaning of this manuscript, for it contained knowledge beyond the reach of ordinary mortals, knowledge that was considered forbidden because it lifted the veil between heaven and earth. The first traces of the book were not found in royal libraries or the halls of scholars, but in hidden caves, deep in the most remote corners of the earth. There, shielded from the world's gaze, brave seekers discovered ancient scrolls, their yellowed pages written in a strange, almost divine script. These fragments, delicate yet powerful, sparked a fascination that captivated even the wisest among them. They sensed that these words were more than just stories, they were revelations that could shake the fabric of the known world. The origin of this mysterious book was attributed to a single figure, Enoch, the great-grandfather of Noah. A man who was not just an ordinary mortal but a chosen one, whose life hovered between earth and heaven. Enoch, regarded as a scribe and prophet of righteousness, had the privilege of gaining insights into heavenly secrets that remained hidden from ordinary people. His identity gave the book an aura of divine authority, for who better than he could preserve knowledge about heavenly beings and the hidden laws of the cosmos? When the first readers got their hands on the book, they immediately realized it was not an ordinary text. The pages were filled with visions and revelations that broke the limits of human understanding. They spoke of angels descending from the heights of heaven, of hidden powers guiding the fate of humanity, and of cosmic laws that determined the balance between light and darkness. These secrets lay deeply hidden, like a treasure revealed only to those willing to seek the truth, even when it was painful or disturbing. The first readers felt the weight of these revelations, for they uncovered a story long forgotten or suppressed by humanity. They told of times when the boundaries between worlds were broken and of beings acting beyond human comprehension. The book was like a key that opened a door to another reality, a reality where the divine and the earthly were inseparably connected. Yet, this very connection made the knowledge so dangerous, it threatened to change the world as it was and put humanity before a choice they could hardly grasp. The language of the book was marked by a strange beauty and an unyielding clarity. It not only told stories but revealed laws and orders that governed the universe. The readers realized that Enoch was not just a chronicler but a mediator between worlds, a messenger who put divine secrets into words to preserve them for future generations. The words on the pages seemed guided by a higher power, as if even heaven spoke to people through Enoch. Yet, despite the revelations, many questions remained unanswered. The origins of the book itself were shrouded in darkness, as no one knew how Enoch had received the heavenly secrets. Some suspected that he was guided by angels who initiated him into the mysteries of heaven. Others believed that he gained these insights through visions and dreams that took him far beyond ordinary human knowledge. Either way, it was clear that the book could not have come from human hands alone, it was a work born from the connection between heaven and earth. The discovery of the book in hidden caves sparked a wave of curiosity that reached far beyond the boundaries of the world at that time. Scholars, mystics, and seekers of all kinds began to search for the fragments that contained the book. Each find was treated like a sacred treasure, for in Enoch's words seemed to reflect the fate of humanity. But the more they read, the clearer it became that this knowledge was not meant for everyone. It was a hidden treasure revealed only to those willing to bear the responsibility for the concealed knowledge. The early readers sensed that the Book of Enoch was more than just a historical document, it was a key to the past and at the same time a guide for the future. The hidden secrets it contained were meant to warn humanity but also to enlighten. The revelations about the heavenly beings and the forbidden arts they taught to humans had the potential to disturb the balance of the world and challenge the order of creation. Yet amid these warnings lay a deeper message of hope and redemption, understood only by those willing to lift the veil of mystery. Thus began the journey of the Book of Enoch, a manuscript that remained hidden through the centuries, only to reappear in the hands of those seeking truth. Its words echoed through time, reminding humanity that there was knowledge greater than human understanding and that the boundaries between heaven and earth were permeable for those brave enough to look beyond the veil. In the shadows of the world, hidden from the eyes of the masses, the Book of Enoch waited to be discovered, a testament to a time when humanity was still close to the origin of all things and the knowledge of heavenly secrets still pulsed alive in the hearts of a few chosen ones. It was a knowledge that both tempted and warned, a knowledge that would lead humanity on a journey they would never forget. As the Book of Enoch was explored more deeply, it revealed a truth that was both fascinating and disturbing, the story of the Watchers, those angels who had descended from heaven to enter the earth. These heavenly beings, originally meant to maintain divine order, turned against God's will when they chose to share the secrets of heaven with humans, a knowledge that was not meant for them. The Watchers, the book reported, crossed the boundaries between worlds and brought forbidden arts and knowledge to mortals, threatening to destroy the natural balance of creation. These angels taught humans skills that had previously remained hidden: the art of metalworking, knowledge of the stars and their movements, magical practices, and the making of weapons and jewelry. They gave humans tools that granted power but also became a source of corruption. For with this knowledge came not only progress but also temptation and greed. People began to misuse the gifts of the Watchers, and soon chaos spread. The natural order was disturbed, and the peaceful life of humans turned into a time of unrest and conflict. From the union of the fallen angels and the daughters of men, beings known as giants arose. These mighty creatures roamed the earth with a strength and wildness that seemed to surpass humanity. They were both a sign of the break between heaven and earth, a visible sign of the sin that spread. The giants used their power to oppress and exploit humans, and soon the earth became a place of terror and darkness. The voices of the suffering echoed through the valleys as corruption grew and cast a shadow over the land. The Watchers themselves had not only brought knowledge but also sowed ruin. They taught humans not only craft skills but also secrets that contradicted divine order, the art of sorcery, the making of talismans, and the creation of poisons and remedies that could both save and destroy lives. This knowledge led people down a path that took them away from the purity of their origin and into the clutches of greed, ambition, and discord. The earth was permeated by this wickedness, and people lived in sin, trapped in a web of temptation and decay. Yet despite the darkness that spread, the truth did not remain hidden. The Book of Enoch spoke of the lament of humanity, which turned to heaven and begged for salvation. The cries of the suffering reached the heavenly heights, and the angels of the Lord witnessed the misery caused by the actions of the Watchers. The divine order was shaken, and the anger of God stirred when he saw the extent of the corruption. The Watchers had betrayed their original purpose and endangered the balance of creation. Amid this heavenly turmoil, it was decided that a judgment must come upon the fallen angels and the corrupt humanity. But before the verdict was announced, the knowledge of the Watchers and their forbidden teachings was hidden by the powers of heaven. The book that contained all these secrets was concealed to protect humanity from further corruption. For it was clear that this knowledge, in the wrong hands, could cause even greater harm. Thus, the Book of Enoch became a treasure of hidden truth, accessible only to the chosen ones. The story of the Watchers and their forbidden gifts served as a warning about the dangers that arise when the divine balance is disturbed. The angels, once seen as guardians of heaven, had become transgressors who held the fate of the earth in their hands, and yet they were victims of their own wrongdoing. Their teachings had seduced humanity but also destroyed it. The power they brought was also a curse that plunged the world into darkness and led people into an abyss of sin and strife. The Book of Enoch also revealed that these events were not just a distant legend but a reality that shook the foundations of the world. The Watchers, their actions, and the resulting consequences were a reflection of the eternal struggle between light and darkness, order and chaos. Humanity stood at a crossroads, caught between the knowledge of the divine and the temptation of the forbidden. The book pointed out how thin the line could be between the sacred and the disastrous when those in power did not use it wisely. The teachings of the Watchers had not only changed people but also the world itself. The earth, once a place of innocence and balance, was now marked by the traces of their actions. The giants that arose from the union of angels and humans were a visible sign of this change, and their presence heralded doom and destruction. They were a constant reminder that forbidden knowledge came at a price, and that the consequences of transgression were deeply engraved in the earth and history. Yet, despite all this darkness, a spark of hope remained hidden. The knowledge, as dangerous as it was, could also serve as a warning, a call to repentance and a return to divine order. The Book of Enoch bore witness to this hope by revealing the truth about the Watchers and urging humanity to turn away from the ways of sin. It showed that the powers of heaven could not only judge but also save, if people were willing to turn towards the light. In the hidden pages of the book lay an appeal to humanity. The forbidden arts and the knowledge of the Watchers were a test, a challenge to be faced if the world was to be brought back into balance. The story of the Watchers was not just a tale of power and fall, but also a warning to be vigilant against the temptations that threatened the hearts of people. It was a story of seduction and betrayal, of sin and punishment, deeply woven into the secrets of heaven and earth. Thus, the story of the Watchers remained a hidden secret, revealed only to those willing to bear the truth. The Book of Enoch preserved this memory of the forbidden revelation and the consequences of transgression, so that future generations could learn from the past. The angels, once seen as guardians of light, had fallen, yet their story lived on as a warning and reminder, a whisper from a time when the knowledge and power of heaven descended to earth and led humanity into temptation. The news of the Watchers' transgression and the corrupt knowledge they had revealed to humans reached the heavenly heights, where God and his archangels watched over the fate of the world. Their hearts were heavy, for they saw how the balance of creation was shaken and the earth groaned under the weight of sin and injustice. God's wrath ignited as he recognized the extent of the disaster caused by the transgression of the angels and the corruption of humanity. The divine order, once of unshakable power and wisdom, was in danger of being broken by the hands of those who had once been seen as guardians of light. Amidst the divine judgment, it was decided that an unyielding sentence had to be pronounced upon the fallen angels and sinful humanity. The archangels were sent to restore order and maintain the balance of the world. Michael, the prince of the heavenly hosts, was tasked with binding Semjaza and his companions and banishing them to the abyss of the earth, where they would remain trapped in darkness for 70 generations. Their punishment was relentless and eternal, a warning to all who would act against God's will. Raphael, the angel of healing and protection, was assigned to capture Azazel, one of the leaders of the Watchers, who had sinned particularly grievously by teaching humans weapons and warfare. Azazel was to be banished to the wilderness, a desolate desert that served as a place of exile and purification. There, he would be lonely and cut off from the world of the living and the angels until the time of punishment was complete. This divine measure was also meant to show humanity that no being, whether human or heavenly, could act against divine will without facing consequences. To cleanse the earth from corruption, a great flood was announced, a deluge that would drown the land and wash away the evil that had arisen from the forbidden knowledge and actions of the Watchers. This flood was not only a punishment but also a new beginning, a divine restoration of purity and order. It would test humanity and protect the righteous while the wicked would be wiped out. The flood was a symbol of divine grace and justice at the same time, a last resort to save the world. Noah, a righteous man, was chosen by Uriel, one of the archangels, to serve as a guardian and protector of humanity through this time of trial. Uriel delivered the message of the coming flood to Noah and gave him instructions on how to save himself and his family. Noah was to build an ark, a large ship that would hold the chosen ones and the animals of the earth to preserve life after the cleansing. The divine warning was clear and undeniable: only those who submitted to God's will would survive and shape a new world after the flood. The punishment for the fallen angels was merciless, but they too received a judgment that revealed their guilt and excluded their repentance. Enoch, the righteous prophet, was asked by the fallen angels to intercede. They pleaded with him to speak to God for them and ask for forgiveness. But Enoch announced that their judgment had already been decided and that their sins were too great to be forgiven. He brought their request before God, but justice was relentless, and the punishment had to be carried out to restore order. Enoch received visions that revealed the punishments that would be imposed on the fallen angels and sinful humans. He saw the chains that would bind the angels, the darkness that awaited them, and the judgment that would be imposed on humanity. These visions were of immense clarity and terrible truth, and they served as a message for Enoch to share with the people so they could prepare for the coming judgment. The earth itself became the stage for a divine plan, in which the order of creation was to be rearranged. The flood was intended as a divine cleansing to remove the wickedness and influence of the fallen angels from the world. The flood would free the earth from the corruption that had arisen from forbidden knowledge and sin, and create the foundation for a new era of peace and justice. This divine intervention was necessary to restore the balance between heaven and earth and lead humanity on a path of righteousness. In the heavenly heights, the angels watched the preparations for this divine judgment and knew that the time of judgment was near. The story of the Watchers and their punishment was an example of how strict God's justice would be when his commands were ignored. The earth, once filled with light and order, would be cleansed by the flood, and the righteous would be brought to safety to build a new world free from the corruption of the past. The Book of Enoch, which contained all these secrets and visions, was hidden in a secret place so that the dangerous knowledge would not fall into the wrong hands and lead humanity into temptation. This hiding place was part of the divine plan to protect humanity while keeping the memory of divine judgment and the need for justice alive. The book remained a hidden legacy, meant to be revealed only to those willing to bear the truth and respect God's will. Enoch himself was taken up to heaven, where he saw God's glory and learned the secrets of the universe. There, he observed the order of creation, the movements of the stars, and the heavenly laws that guided all life. The angels revealed to him the names and duties of the holy beings who watched over humanity, and showed him the punishments that would befall sinners and fallen angels. Enoch thus became the mediator between heaven and earth, a messenger of divine wisdom and justice. In his visions, Enoch saw the Son of Man, who would sit in God's glory and act as judge over the world. He saw how the righteous were separated from the wicked, how joy and peace were given to those who served the Lord of spirits, while the wicked begged for mercy but received none. These visions were a powerful sign that the time of judgment had come and that divine justice would be inevitable. Thus, Enoch was sent as a prophet and ambassador of justice to warn humanity of the coming judgment and to call them to repentance. His messages were not only meant for his own time but for all future generations that would have to face the truth and the divine will. Enoch's life and his revelations were a testament to the unceasing connection between heaven and earth and to the need to follow the path of righteousness to live in God's glory. Centuries passed, and the Book of Enoch remained in the hidden corners of the world, its words a whisper from long ago, hidden from the eyes of the crowd. Yet time, as history teaches, always brings the hidden to light. In an era when the search for knowledge and truth was reignited, the book resurfaced, through decaying manuscripts, through the hands of scholars and explorers searching dusty caves and abandoned libraries for fragments of the past. The rediscovery of this book brought a wave of fascination and wonder to the world. Translations of the ancient texts were made, and slowly a picture of the hidden secrets contained in the book began to form. But with the return of the book also came controversy. Theologians, historians, and scholars raised their voices, discussed, and argued about the authenticity of this work and its significance for religious history. Some saw the book as a holy revelation that could expand the understanding of heaven and earth, while others viewed it as dangerous fiction that shook the foundation of faith. These debates sparked a flame of curiosity that reached far beyond academic circles. However, the Book of Enoch was more than just a topic of theological disputes. It became a key for those seeking answers in the hidden mysteries of the world. Secret societies, mystics, and alternative historians found in its lines a source of inspiration, an invitation to rethink the history of humanity and lift the veils of the past. For them, the book was more than a text, it was a portal to a truth that went beyond the boundaries of established teachings and shed new light on the origins of humanity. Despite all efforts to decode the book, many of its passages remained puzzling and hard to understand. The language was full of symbols and hints that were only accessible to those willing to dig deep and explore the hidden meanings. This ambiguity preserved the book's mysterious character, and it remained a mystery that raised new questions instead of providing final answers. Thus, the Book of Enoch became an eternal riddle that challenged humanity to keep searching for the hidden. The rediscovery of the book led to a wave of writings and interpretations that tried to explain the significance of the Watchers, the fallen angels, and the divine order. Many saw parallels in these stories to other ancient myths and legends, and so a web of connections began to weave together the history of humanity with the tales of heaven and the underworld. This web attracted seekers from all parts of the world who saw in the hidden teachings a key to their own understanding of existence and destiny. The impact of the Book of Enoch reached far beyond the boundaries of religion and influenced esoteric movements that dealt with the mysteries of the universe. It became a symbol for the quest for hidden knowledge and an inspiration for those who believed that the history of humanity has deeper, hidden layers. In secret circles, the book was studied, discussed, and revered, while its words connected seekers like an invisible bond, all wanting to lift the veil between heaven and earth. Yet, despite all the research and interpretation, the book remained a mystery that could not be fully revealed. The hidden truths it contained seemed only partially accessible, as if waiting to be fully unveiled at the right moment and before the right eyes. This incompleteness gave the book a timeless significance and preserved its status as a work that touches not only the past but also the future of humanity. In the shadows of history, the Book of Enoch became a constant companion for humanity in its quest for knowledge. It reminded us that knowledge is both powerful and dangerous, that it should not be obtained lightly, and that truth often lies hidden in depths that can only be found with patience and humility. The book was more than a relic of the past, it was a living part of humanity's pursuit of meaning and understanding. The message of the book continued to echo through the centuries, carried by those who dedicated themselves to the search for truth. It was a symbol of the quest for knowledge that went beyond the visible, and a testament to the eternal connection between the earthly and the heavenly. The Book of Enoch challenged people to confront their own history and explore the secrets hidden deep in the world and the heavens. Thus, the book remained a key to a hidden world, a treasure passed down from generation to generation, always in the shadows, always mysterious. Its words were a call to humanity not to settle for the obvious, but to look deeper, to boldly cross the boundaries of the known, and to continue the eternal search for truth and meaning. In this quest lay the hope that one day the lost secrets would be fully revealed and the balance between heaven and earth restored. The Book of Enoch rose above the ages as both a warning monument and a shining guide for humanity. It revealed that hidden knowledge can be a source of power, but also a danger if obtained and used thoughtlessly. The message of the book was clear: God's order must not be broken, for any attempt to unveil forbidden secrets brings not only knowledge but also destruction. It was a mirror that reminded people of their responsibility to maintain the balance between heaven and earth and to submit to the divine will. The prophecies contained in the Book of Enoch speak of a coming judgment that will bring hidden truths to light and lead humanity into a new era of restoration. This judgment will not only reveal the sins of the past but also test the souls ready to submit to the divine order. It is a moment of reckoning, where light and darkness will be finally separated, and where the righteous will be rewarded and the unrighteous punished. This vision of the future is both a warning and a promise, calling humanity to choose its path with wisdom and humility. The legacy of the Book of Enoch is a heritage that extends far beyond its pages. It symbolizes humanity's eternal search for knowledge, the longing to understand the secrets of the universe, and the realization that there are limits that must not be crossed. This legacy lives on in the hearts of those who embark on the path of knowledge, knowing that truth often lies hidden in the depths and is not obtained without cost. The book thus becomes an eternal companion on the journey of humanity between the earthly and the divine. In the visions and teachings of the book, it becomes clear that humanity is not alone on its path. Heavenly beings watch over them, and divine judgment is an expression of divine justice and mercy at the same time. The message is an invitation to turn away from the path of sin and dedicate oneself to the service of the Lord of Spirits. It is a call to repentance and renewal that should resonate in the hearts of people so that they can receive grace and live in peace and abundance. The Book of Enoch is more than just a written document. It is a living testimony of the connection between heaven and earth, a symbol of the eternal struggle between good and evil, light and darkness. It challenges humanity to recognize its own role in the great fabric of creation and to consciously choose the path of righteousness. The secrets it reveals are a mirror of the human soul and a call to responsibility that must never fade away. In the ongoing search for truth, the Book of Enoch remains an unfathomable mystery that invites people to lift the veils and explore the hidden. It reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge is a double-edged sword that can bring both salvation and ruin. Yet in this pursuit lies also the hope for renewal and restoration, for reunification with the divine, which will mean the end of all darkness and suffering. Thus, the Book of Enoch stands as an eternal symbol of the lost mystery that challenges humanity to find its place between heaven and earth. It is a call to vigilance and wisdom, a legacy that endures through time and continually leads humanity to the realization that beyond the visible lies a deeper truth, a truth that only those can grasp who are willing to open themselves to the divine will and remain faithful to the path of righteousness. This lost mystery, hidden within the pages of the book, is not just a story from ancient times but a living call to all generations that will come. It urges us to seek the connection between the heavenly and the earthly, to respect the divine order, and to take responsibility for our actions. The Book of Enoch thus remains an eternal companion on humanity's journey, a symbol of the endless search for truth and the hope for a just and peaceful future. If you love the story, like the video and subscribe.